So, well, first of all, this is going to be a complete improvised talk, so I'm sorry for that. There are several reasons. The first reason is because I made a mistake in the order of talks, and I was completely sure that today I had the talk of tomorrow. So, and you all know how is this. I was relaxed preparing the talk of tomorrow, and then I needed to prepare this also. But then I saw that it was kind of cool because I'm talking about desktop applications, and then it shows your project, so it's kind of the same, and my talk it will be like a big shows your project, like 4 times I will show your project, but just for me, just for me. So that will be okay. And the other thing is that since nobody's going to see anything anyway, I decided to go to a dark presentation, because if you are not going to see anything, at least you are not going to see it cool. It's going to be nice like that. So, okay. Let's start now. I'm Esteban Lorenzano. You already know me at this moment, because yesterday I did another presentation. I'm still the same guy. Okay. This talk is about Faro on the desktop, and my experience building these applications, more or less, and what I have learned on that. And why I want to talk about this? Well, first, because Steph asked me to talk about this. That's the main reason. I was not prepared to do this until a couple of months ago. But okay, when I have announced that I needed to do this. But okay, but there is a real reason. Well, the desktop was declared dead. Since I'm starting to work, I start to work, every couple of years, someone says, no, there is not more desktop applications, no, there's everything in the web. And it can be because of applets, because of the PSP, GSP frameworks that get popular at the end of the 90s. Then my language transpired to JavaScript, of which even Smalltalk had several versions. Then someone decided that WebAssembly was a good idea, and someone said, now everything is going to be WebAssembly. And well, now we have Electron everywhere, and Electron is probably the most expensive demonstration that in fact we need desktop applications. Because what you have is a complete browser embed with some rules and that, and you do the application there. And I get why the tendency, everybody says that web applications are the future. I don't think they are completely the future, but they have a reason of existence. Updating applications is a lot easier if you have to update a distributed application than if you have to distribute that to thousands of machines. Most of our work is not for thousands of machines also, but sometimes is, and then I can see the importance. But in the other side, we still need applications that are well integrated with the system that we have, because that's what gives us usability and speed up of our productivity and the feeling of doing something that is related with a tool that should propose related stuff. I know that today is hard to find things that work like that, but even today, with all the several waves that have been about desktop applications, around 70% of all the applications in the world are still desktop applications, even if everybody wants to move. So we still do, and we still need desktop applications. So the question is, can Faro be used to not only build Faro, but to build desktop applications I genuinely want to use every day? My answer is yes, but it has some work. So this is also a personal tour, a personal voyage, travel. So travel was the word, because in fact since my work is doing Faro, and I have kind of an engineering mind, I need to see the things that I do applied, working, to have a feedback, to be able to improve the things. So my personal feedback loop is this one. I have a personal problem, I build a desktop application to solve it. I get the friction, the platform friction, what Faro is not providing me, and I want to solve. Then I make a framework improvement, and then next application will be better, and also Faro. That's why I do all of this, and also because it's fun. So, let's see the apps. The first app, let's do some context. I'm an old guy that used to be a gamer in the years that games were cool. In the 80s. I don't know if you ever hear of Elite Dangerous. There is a modern version, but this game was a beautiful game that fits in a 3.5 disc, and it was simulating a whole galaxy, an infinite number or almost infinite numbers of systems that you were able to explore and mine, basically, and get some combat. And well, it was procedurally generated. So, since I like this, and I needed to fulfill another problem that I will explain later, I say, okay, let's simulate our own galaxy. And then I see my procedural galaxy. This is a procedural galaxy that makes more or less the same that Elite Dangerous did, without the gaming part, just the simulation. Has stars, star type, size, planets, moons, different kind of materials in the planets. There is a lot of things. Everything is generated procedural. So let's take a first look at this. This is another desktop application, by the way. But since I want to show how cool is this, I make all my examples here. So let's take this thing further, and let's put it. Let's say I will put it here so it doesn't annoy me. So this is the first example, and as you can see here, you have a complete generated galaxy. How you can know that it's a procedural generated galaxy? Let's take some pattern that is, well, everything, as you can see, it has a star, kind of star, planets, moons, blah, 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 everything. So, how you know this? Let's take some more or less non-cumulus. Let's say this one. And this is a blue star. And let's move. Woo. This is still generating. And it goes back. And if I can find it, and this was my cumulus, it's still the same. And all of this is generated for each render. You have squadrons. It's very easy. But in fact, what I wanted to prove here is that you can do custom widgets with the spec and the JTK backend. Then Athens in this moment will be Alexandria, I don't know, later, but this thing, that you can do it. And of course, this is more fun than just doing a button, a weird button, a circular button that has. But the other problem that I wanted to solve here is how you package this, how you make that fit into an application that you can distribute. And I discovered different things from this. The first thing I discovered is that Faro is not well modularized. That if you want to start from a minimal image and just load what you want, you have a lot of problems. Now you have a lot less, because then I spent 2 months improving the separation of concerns on that, and even if it's still a big monolith, well, you get it. Then it's better. Now you can do it. The other thing that I discovered is that Metacello is very good for describing a lot of things, but it's very bad to load things when you need to load things in a specific order and in specific versions and that. So that makes that I created a lot of scripts and that. And finally, that's a small tool that I create for is not pushed into the image because it has partial usage, which is meta-cello, which basically what does is flatten your baselines and loads, and ensure that you load the one that you want. With that, I was able to build an image that has just 16 mega. And the fun thing is after that, all the applications that I packaged, no matter if it was this, which is very simple, or something very complex, were 16 megas. Always. I don't know why. I think it's because of the page, the pages, the pagination. 16 megas. So the footprint, the memory footprint then multiplies like by 4 in this case, and it was arriving to 100 megas when you are executing any application. The others that I will show later too. So, and that's a fun thing. So, and this is the first example I have. So let's go back this. And yes, before you ask, I also built the planet simulators because I want to go there and see the planets. And this is how it will be a terrestrial planet generated procedurally. And this is a zone where you could move and do things. I never built the game because then I have a real job. I needed to move out to do other stuff. But the idea was there. And all that, 16 megas. The other thing that was interesting from this is that this was the kickstart of Sig, which we might talk of tomorrow, because for building all this generated stuff, I needed to map a library, which is libnoise, which it gives you a lot of random weirdness that you can use to do it. And it's a C++ library, but it's a very simple C++ library. So the first case, the Sig, was mapping already C++. Okay, so let's move to the next one. And let's continue with the games from the 80s. You know what a multi-user dungeon is? Eh? Yes. Yes, you are all like me. It's another game from the 80s. Think on it as the Australopithecus of World of Warcraft, of the MMOs of today. It's role-playing gaming where everything happens in a terminal, and a lot of protocols on Telnet to simulate different things. So, this is terminal working that is mapping with a lot of things. So, and I built my own client for doing this. This is Tantan is the name, which is the most known, most used client for doing these games. In fact, it's like a Telnet with some plugins. No, it's a Telnet client with some plugins. So I made my own. In fact, this one I was making during years. I first do it, the first version in Spec 1. Then I migrated to this one, the Spec 2 version, for example. This is here. And this is the migration to to Spec GTK. The things that I wanted to test here is because, in fact, this is a rubric editor simulating a terminal. And of course, that was not escalating at all. So I say, okay, here I can use a real terminal. So I wanted to test that. And I wanted to play games, of course. So, that's the next one. So, you want to see this working? Because it's working. Yeah. So, the next one then is here. I put it. Then you connect. I play one that is called Legends of the Jedi, when you play to do BE. In fact, it's very hard to be a Jedi, but you can be to play in the galaxy. So, and this is a voila. And this is my own version of this thing. I'm here. This is the map where it starts. This is Grona. This is the ComNet for communication. Is the out of character channel where things can happen. So, and you can say things like, let me see. Hello. No. No, because I do not have Okay, let's do something more interesting. Let's go kill something. I don't know if I can kill it, but... Oh. Okay, I roll this character. Okay, I will not be able because I will consume a lot of time, and I can. And he does not let me move because I do not have a history. And since this is a role-playing game, you need to have a history, a description, and a character well rolled. But then, okay, and so he will not let me do this. And I think I'm going to take a lot of time if I do it. But I can say, listo, and history. I edit it, save. Maybe he let me. Maybe he let me go. Let me see. To the left. No, to the east. Sorry, east. It's been cut. You see, I'm moving. As you can see, I'm moving from room to room. And then probably I can interact with someone and that stuff. And I will not go further. He says that. I say yes. I want to help you. No, I cannot because I already helped him. Okay, and you can do a lot of things. This thing has a lot of things interesting, like a complete DSL also that interacts with this. I have a lot of telnet parsers to do this, a lot of protocols implementation. I use Petit parser very intensively here. I have parser for everything, and this works. No, this is not procedural. Procedural was the previous game. This is just another game. It's a role-playing game, but you do it internally. So, and I think it's very cool. You can do this kind of stuff. Now, let me go back home because otherwise I don't going to be able to disconnect. And let me disconnect because the purpose is not to teach you how to play this, but just to show you how cool this can be. And then, what was my learnings here? What was the thing? We really need the first thing we do not have is we really need a terminal emulator for Faro. One of the reasons that the transcript works so bad is because it's not a terminal, it's an editor that should work like a terminal, like a feed, and then we have always problems synchronizing and that. So we should have it. I was not able to push it. Pavel Krivanek did one more for that, so we could have a spec component provided there, but we don't. The other thing is that we need something to play with the layouts. That's where the idea of doing the perspectives of what was going to be Pulsar later came. Because, yes, I have this layout here because it's one, but then if you do other games, you can, because this is a client for any MAD that exists, you can connect to anything. You want to play with that and change them, or people want to change it. And then I started to play with containers and that. At the end, say, okay, I need something really good for this. So, and let's go back to real life. This is you know what Get Things Done is, no? Get Things Done is a tool of productivity, and I was working in Mac, and at the time I was using this one that is Things is the name, which is the most popular that there exists in Mac. And then I switched to Linux. So, of course, let's do your own. And I wanted different things. I wanted to take Markdown notes and Pomodoro, so I made two applications for this. One is Nevermind Notes. The code name was Nevermind because I wanted to forget about it. So, to take notes and to do the things stuff. So let's check out this. I have both running. This is the notes, and as you see, this is a Markdown. I don't know why. I was testing in because this is old. been years that I do not use it. In fact, since Faro 11, I think, that I don't use it. I don't know why I changed this, the display theme from light to dark. I switched it to test how it was, and it never came back to dark. It should be sorry, because this is, I don't know the packaging, but it's okay. But you have a good rendering of Markdown. You have your nodes. You can make new nodes like this, and it will be sorted by time. You can check the spell in all the spell checkers that you have, and you can export it using Pandoc to whatever you want, basically. This is one, and I use it a lot. And I use it a lot in combination with this other one, which is my things clone, as you can see. This is, as you see, it follows the pattern of it follows the pattern of get things done. With you have projects, you have some nice stuff, like for example this component that you can see here. You see it, no? You see it? That using the dark thing was a good choice. So, and that's not very visible, but the pie is complete, and that's an atom component that updates and that, and everything works using Voyage at the end, and that's when I create the Voyage EGDB backend, because I wanted that embedded. That was before Soil. I would have used Soil, and in fact I was migrating this to Soil, but then I had real life work. I wanted an embedded database, because using a full database for that, it was a lot. I could have used SQLite, but I hate relational databases. So okay, this EGDB is a nice backend for embedded, but today I will never recommend that because we have something better. But okay, but it's there and it's still working. What else? This thing started to grow a lot, and then, for example, I added to make pomodoros. That I think is working. Yeah, it's working. You see? And you have pomodoros, and it was using beeps and that when you need all the things that you need to do that. And then I needed to take notes, so I made something with more notes than like this. Like you can make a log, for example, like this, which I embedded the same component that I had in the notes there. And it's starting to become a Frankenstein tool, so thanks God I discovered another tool, and I abandoned this project. But even abandoned projects serve to teach you something. And in this case, the importance of look and feel, the importance of parallel processing, because this could not have been, especially all the days there, not possible in how the morphic works today. Well, mostly everything happens in the UI thread, and the fact that everything freezes there. And that's why, for example, Pulsar is made with Taskit at the core, and it has mechanisms to execute things in parallel or sequential, but in different threads and that. So it feels smooth. And finally, let's see application crash, you know. And when you use C libraries, as I use in general, you have C crashes, and you do not have a debugger. So, and the only thing to debug is using GDB. And GDB, this is the best user interface you can get. And there are not nice clients for GDB around. So, you know where I'm going now. Let's do our own debugger or client. So, let's get out of here and execute this. This is complicated, so I need to start a terminal, and from the terminal start the application, because it uses GDB, but it's complicated. But then, you believe me, I need a terminal. It was the easiest part, and that creates you a debugger. This is also, we do not have panels and that, so I need to do it mostly by hand. And you can execute an application, but most important, you can pause it whenever you want. for example now, and then you have all the threads and all that, and you can even check, for example, here I do not have the sources, but if I come here, yeah, I have the sources, and it comes, and you can put, and you can set breakpoints, check variables, you can do everything you want. ¿Cuánto falta? I'm finishing. 2 minutes. And the thing is, okay, but I want a playground because REPL sucks too. And then I put a playground. So you can send GDB commands there, and you can do things like, for example, ask the call stack, and you have, and you, and that, and you can check a frame. Let's check this one, for example. And you can call. I want to do fast because they are pressuring me, even if this is and then you will have, but this is a Smalltalk, and Smalltalk creates the VM with the Smalltalk, so you have VM maker, so you could use this to have better debugging of the VM, which is what I wanted to do that. So I create, for example, this. Crashed. Damn it. No, it was cool. Huh? I don't know. If it crashes again, we will abort. Crash, but I cannot debug it with the debugger. Let's see. Yeah, but it's for the monitor. It's because of the rendering of the monitor. I have this problem other times. Okay, well, you will have an inspector there. You picture an inspector. An inspector where you can do the Miller list stuff and that with the stacks, the frames, the things that things has. Okay, and then that was my latest example. And then, okay, for me, applications are integration tests for Faro. The frameworks become real when you use it. If you are not using what you do, you cannot expect that people can use it too. So that's the way that you can know that something fails. And that's where the boundaries become visible. What you are not providing is visible. Otherwise, in theory, everything works. And then that's where you can make abstractions that work better for the things. And that's how Spec 2 exists, in fact. It's very interactively, and people hate me because I'm changing things all the time, but because I'm constructing new abstractions that fits better. For example, I recently added the tables were very basic, and now tables can receive any presenter as a cell and list the same, so you can do very complex stuff, and that was not there before, but then you need to do, but it's complicated. You have a lot of things, but you have the possibility to do all that. So, one thing not, packaging is not finished. Why? Because we have a lot of the parts working. We know how to do a package that you distribute and people can execute and run, but it's all dispersed. We need an application still that you can say, okay, I open this, I take this baseline, take this entry point, and make me an application. And that's possible. We have all the parts, but we didn't do the application that makes all together, but we didn't have the time. But we will do it. Well, finally, well, I want to build the applications that makes the imperfections of the frameworks impossible to ignore, so I can make a better Faro for you. Thank you very much.